Padangusthasana poses video sequence, and in today's video we're going to be going into our Utthita, Hasta, Padangusthasana, our extended hand to foot or big toe pose. And then we're going to show two variations of that. We're going to show leg forward, so lifted in this flexion, so from the hip flexion in the sagittal plane, and then we're also going to do this external rotation out to the side. So two variations of that pose. And then we're also going to do the revolve version. So our Parivrtta, Hasta, Padangusthasna, Parivrtta, Revolved, Hasta, hand, Padangusthasana, foot or big toe pose. So two variations of the forward one, and then of our revolve version, we're going to do Parivrtta, so another variation of that. So three of those, and then we'll also go into transitions and options to deepen into that pose. So if you're noticing that you're not able to get into a fuller expression of the pose, ways to continue to open and deepen into that practice. And so there, again, yoga is so beautiful in the sense that it allows us to have this greater ability in our movement, greater ability in that connection to ourselves and our bodies, how we move our bodies, how we connect to ourselves in this way. So much more than just the asanas, even though I'm going through asanas today, but it is really that connection to our divine self, our divine ability, that divine, not only in the poses, but in everyday life, right? How we feel in our bodies, right? To feel more open, have that strength, that inner strength to know that we have that ability to move our body in that way, to feel that divine energy moving through us, that flow of energy. So there's such beauty in this. And so we'll go through how to, again, other poses that allow you to deepen into that practice even more, so that will bring that greater opening through the pose as well. So we'll show you some transitions there. So if you'd love to join me on the mat, we'll start in our Tadasana pose. Feeling that connection into the mat, feeling grounded from our foot into the mat, fully grounded. And then we begin by inhaling, rising the energy up, all the way up through the crown. As we exhale, we bring the shoulders down and back. We feel that inhale, right, opening the heart up, feeling that chest broadened. We feel that connection to our root, our mula bandha, so pulling that pelvic floor up, and so our mula bandha and uddiyana bandha, the connection to our core. So feeling that stability, that presence, even in this first pose. And so when we're inhaling, rising, exhaling, deepening, bringing those shoulders down and back, we're bringing those shoulders into our shoulder girdle, so into position. So sometimes we'll notice that people, might feel lifted here through the shoulders and have like this shortened neck, or feel rounded through the shoulders. So this really brings us back into that alignment, that posture, and into place, right? So that our shoulders are sitting into that shoulder girdle, right? And we're not tense or feeling tense in that position, which allows us to have a greater expression. So in yoga, you notice a lot of this emphasized through the poses, this lengthening through the pose, this alignment, this flexibility, this mobility, this opening up through those shoulders, allowing that greater ease of movement through the body and greater flow, right? So as we're inhaling, take a deep breath in, and we exhale, feeling present as we begin. We begin to shift the weight over to our left leg. We inhale, rise that right knee up, come into our stork pose. As we bring our option here, when we say foot or big toe, bring our middle finger and index finger to the big toe, wrapping it around, option one. Now, I know I didn't feel comfortable with this pose initially, with this position. So another option would be to grab the toes or to grab the outside of the foot. So a few options there. Now we can bring our hand to the waist, mid-waist. So I'm going to grab the big toes. Inhale, keeping those shoulders back, so heart is open. We're feeling that lengthening, stable in that foot, connected to the core, lengthening through the crown. We're going to exhale, extend out. And begin to draw the hip into the midline of the body. So we're feeling centered in our midline as we go through this pose. So inhale, rise. Grab onto the foot or toe. Feel that connection to the core. Feel that lengthening here, heart is open. We exhale, extend. And then we have the option to come up to the side. Good, and then we can exhale too to bring our inner thigh, or heel to the inner thigh. As we press the heel into the thigh, thigh into the heel, we come into our Vrikshasana tree pose. Inhale, rise, arms overhead. Exhale, center. And so even here we feel the stability, we feel the centeredness, we feel the connection to our bodies in this pose. And then we can exhale to release. So that's our first pose, our Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. We have the option of forward, sagittal plane, or externally rotated in this frontal plane. And then we also have the option, forward, but also starting out to the side. So again, we would inhale, shoulders down and back, lengthening here. Bring our fingers to our toes or to the foot, and then we can exhale, drawing the sit bones down, drawing the hips inward to the midline of the body, lengthening through the crown. And then we can come forward, and then exhale, lower. Inhale, rise, hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. And again, that invitation to feel that honoring yourself in this practice, that connection to self. Right? Such a beautiful connection when we're moving through the practice and we have these opportunities to feel that honoring, that love, that connection with ourselves in this practice. That's such a beautiful moment in our practice to connect in that way. So that is our Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, and then I'm going to go through the revolved version of this, our Parivrtta Hasta Padangusthasana. So I'll turn sideways for this. And so for this one, I'm going to shift the weight over to my right leg. And again, finding that length, grounded into the mat, lengthening through the crown, drawing the energy up. Shoulders are down and back, our heart is open, feeling the connection to our core. As we inhale, rise, feeling stable. And then we can grab onto that foot or big toe here. Hand to the waist. Sorry, I'm going to show you the Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana from the side, and then we'll go into the revolved version. And then exhale, extend. Drawing the hip in, lengthening, drawing the shoulder back. And then you come out to the side here. And then exhale to lower, inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Okay, so our revolved version, again, so we inhale, rise, knee comes up. This time I'm going to bring my hand, right hand, so hand comes to the waist, but I'm going to bring my hand to the outside of that left foot. As I extend, we draw that left arm back, and we look back. And then we can exhale to lower. To the side. Exhale, hands to heart. So that is our Parivrtta Hasta Padangusthasana. Now, if you're not able to get into full extension yet into that pose, it's really about finding that opening and that space in the hamstring. So really feeling that opening through the hamstrings. So amazing poses for that would be your downward facing dog. So as you work on or Utthita, or forward folds, or downward dogs, or half split. So I'll go through a little variation of how we can start to deepen and open even more into that pose. And then again, bringing those shoulders down and back, so really opening up through the heart. So anything when we're binding behind the back, when we're inhaling, rising the arms, bringing the arms down and back into that shoulder girdle, into posture, will really help to open up to allow that greater expression of that pose, right? So we'll inhale, rise, hands overhead, our Padangusthasana. We'll exhale, fold, Utthita. We'll inhale, hands to the mat as we jump or step back into plank. Inhale, rise. Drawing the heels down, pressing into the palms, rising energy up, belly into spine as we lengthen through the torso. And we're drawing, as we press the palms down, the head forward, which will allow us that opening, again, drawing the shoulders back to open up through the upper body, and then exhaling, drawing the energy down, pressing down into those heels, lengthening through those hamstrings. So we can inhale, plank. exhale, deepen, downward facing dog. We'll inhale, rise, right leg comes up, come into our three-legged dog, our Padangusthasana. Inhale, knee to chest, come into tiger curl as we step that right foot through. Another amazing option here, come into pyramid pose. So we find length through that right leg. We're lengthening through the torso as we deepen here, start to lengthen and find that greater length again through the hamstring here, which is allowing that greater extension. We're lengthening through that torso. We're lengthening through that right leg in our Parivrtta pyramid pose. Drawing the tailbone up, lifted, drawing the energy up through the heel, all the way up through the back of those hamstrings. Inhale, rise, halfway lift. Exhale, lengthen, deepen into that pose. And then we can exhale, come onto the knee, step that left foot back as we lower down into our Asana. Inhale, sit the hips back, come into our half split, our Ardha Hanumanasana half split. And so we're finding length here, drawing again, lifting through that tailbone, drawing the energy up through the back of those legs as we lengthen through the torso, belly into spine, and then we're leading with the hip here, right? So I'm not rounding the shoulders forward. I'm keeping that length through the torso, length through that leg as I deepen here, drawing the belly closer towards the thighs. We can inhale forward, open up through that left hip. Exhale, sit back and deepen, drawing that tailbone up, lifted through that hip, or that glute I should say. And we can point and then flex through that foot. Inhale, walking my hands forward. As we rise up, come into our low lunge, lengthen through that back leg, draw the hip up. Inhale, rise, right arm comes up. Exhale, find your bind. So again, any invitation we have to find our binds, rotating that shoulder back, lengthening through the upper body, lower body. This is how we work through coming into deepening through our poses. Inhale, rise, right leg comes up. Exhale, knee to chest. Step that right foot, left foot through. Come into our forward fold, Utthita. Inhale. Hands overhead, exhale, hands to heart. Anjali Mudra. Amazing, guys. So just some examples of how you're working through other poses will also allow you to deepen into the pose that we are talking about today in our Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. So as you work through your practice, you'll notice that deepening within that. So this was just a beautiful opportunity to go through the alignment of this and how to find a greater opening in that pose, right? Greater expression through that pose. And it's not a judgment about where you're at, it's just about breathing through and seeing yourself deepening into that fullest expression of that pose. So as always, guys, we finish our practice with Namaste, the light, the love, the divine in me, honors the light, the love, the divine in you. And it's always an honor to come on here and share. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out or comment below. It's always amazing to hear from you. So much love, guys.